Hey guys, in this video we are going to be continuing the Applied Visual Design tutorial on freeCodeCamp. So this section of the curriculum focuses on Applied Visual Design. The first group of challenges built on the given card layout to show a number of core principles. Text is often a large part of the web content. CSS has several options for how to align it with the text align property. Text align justify causes all lines of text except the last line to meet the left and right edges of the line box. Text align center centers the text. Text align right and left. Right aligns the text, left aligns the text. And text align left is the default for alignment of text. Align the H4 tag's text which says Google to the center, then just, alright. So H4. So text align. If I can type to center. Then justify the paragraph tag, which contains information about how Google was founded. Text align justify. Alright. You can specify the width of an element using the width property in CSS. Values can be given in relative length units such as m, absolute length units such as px or pixels, or as percentages of its containing parent element. Here's an example that changes the width of an image to 220 pixels. Right. Add a width property to the entire card and set it to an absolute value of 245. Alright. So width. Damn, I cannot type tonight. Width 245 pixels. Then the absolute value. Okay. That's it. Yep. You can specify the height of an element using the height property in CSS, similar to the width property. Here's an example that changes the height of an image to 20 pixels. Add a height property to the H4 tag and set it to 25 pixels. Alright, height 5 pixels. Alright. To make text bold, you can use the strong tag. This is often used to draw attention to text and symbolize that it is important. With the strong tag, the browser applies the CSS of font weight bold to the element. Wrap a strong tag around Stanford University inside the P tag. So, to underline text, you can use the U tag. This is often used to signify that a section of text is important or something to remember. With the U tag, the browser applies the CSS of text decoration underlined to the element. Try to avoid using the U tag when it could be confused for a link. Anchor tags also have a default underlined formatting. To wrap the U tag around the text PhD students, it should not include the parent div that has the class of card text. Alright, so U. Alright. To emphasize text, you can use the EM tag. This displays text as italicized as the browser applies the CSS of font style italic to the element. Wrap an EM tag around the contents of the paragraph tag to give it impact. Alright, so I'm thinking everything inside the paragraph tag, so M goes on the outside. Alright, looking good. To strike through text, which is when a horizontal line cuts across the characters, you can use the del tag. It is shown that a section of text is no longer valid. With the del tag, the browser applies the CSS of text decoration line through to the element. Wrap the del tag around Google inside the H4 tag. So, del. and then add the word alphabet beside of it. Which should not have a strike through the formatting. Alright. You can use the HR tag to add a horizontal line across the width of its containing element. This can be used to define a change in topic or to visually separate groups of content. Add an HR tag underneath the H4, which contains the title card. In HTML, HR is a self-closing tag and therefore does not need a separate closing tag. Alright. Good to know. Good to know. Instead of adjusting your overall background color or the color of the text to make the foreground easily readable, you can add a background color to the element holding the text you want to emphasize. This challenge uses RGBA instead of hex codes or normal RGB. Okay, the RGB values can range from 0 to 255. The alpha values can range from 1, which is fully opaque, or a solid color, to 0, which is fully transparent or clear. RGBA is great to use in this case, as it allows you to adjust the opacity. This means you don't have to completely block out the background. You'll use background color RGBA 45, 45, 45, 0.1 for this challenge. It produces a dark gray color that is nearly transparent given the low opacity value of 0.1. And copy and paste that. Make the text stand out more. Adjust the background color of the H4 element given by the RGBA. That's also for the H4, remove the height property. Okay. Then add a padding of 10 pixels. Alright. The font size of header tags H1 through 6 should generally be larger than the font size of paragraph tags. This makes it easier for the user to visually understand the layout and level of importance of everything on the page. You use the font size property to adjust the size of the text in an element. To make the heading significantly larger than paragraph, change the font size of the H4 tag to 27 pixels. Alright. Once again, H1 is the biggest tag, while H6 is the smallest text size. The box shadow property applies one or more shadows to an element. The box shadow property takes values for offset X, how far to push the shadow horizontally from the element, offset Y, how far to push the shadow vertically from the element, blur radius, spread radius, and a color value in that order. The blur excuse me. The blur radius and spread radius values are optional. Here's an example of the CSS to create multiple shadows with some blur at mostly transparent black colors. Alright, I think it's going to make me use that maybe. The element now has an ID of the thumbnail. Alright. The selector, use the example CSS values above to place a box shadow on the card. Alright, so we do thumbnail. Ooh, nice. It makes it like pop out. I see. Alright. Looks pretty cool. Actually looks like a piece of paper now. The opacity property in CSS is used to adjust the opacity or conversely the transparency for an item. A value of 1 is opaque, which isn't transparent at all. A value of 0.5 is half see-through. A value of 0 is completely transparent. The value given will apply to the entire element, whether that's an image with some transparency or the foreground and background colors for a block of text. Set the opacity of the anchor tags to 0.7 using links class to select them. Alright, so Alright. Text transform property in CSS is used to change the appearance of text. It's a convenient way to make sure text on a web page appears consistently without having to change the text content of the actual HTML elements. The following table shows how the different text transform values change the example text transform me. Lowercase, uppercase, capitalize, initial, inherent, none. Alright. Transform the text to the H4 to bring the uppercase using the text transform property. Alright, so text transform, uppercase. The font size property is used to specify how large the text is in a given element. This rule can be used for multiple elements to create visual consistency of text on a page. In this challenge, you'll set the values for all H1 through H6 tags to balance the heading sizes. So H1 font size 68 pixels. H2 is font size 52 pixels. H3 font size 40 pixels. H4 font size 32 pixels. Pixels. Alright, so as you see, the H1 is the biggest, all the way down to H6 being the smallest. You set the font size of each heading tag in the last challenge. Here you'll adjust the font weight. The font weight property sets how thick or thin the characters are in section of text. Alright, so font weight 600. $500, $400, $300, and font weight 200. Alright. Font size property in CSS is not limited to headings. It can be applied to any element containing text. Change the value of the font size property for the paragraph to 16 pixels to make it more visible. CSS offers the line height property to change the height of each line in a block of text. As the name suggests, it changes the amount of vertical space that each line of text gets. Add a line height property, 25 pixels. Alright, so that increases the spacing between the lines. This challenge will touch on the usage of pseudo classes. A pseudo class is a keyword that can be added to selectors in order to select a specific state of the element. For example, the styling of an anchor tag can be changed for its hover state using the hover pseudo class selector. Here, the CSS to change the color of the anchor tag to red during its hover state. Alright, the code editor has a CSS rule to style all A tags black. Add rules so that when the users hover over the A tag, the color is blue. So just take that, add it below that, blue. Oh. So now instead of black, there's the blue. Alright, and on that, this is going to be the end of this video. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, leave a like, dislike, subscribe, comment. Thanks for watching.